Hello, everyone. I am so excited to be here today. I can't begin to tell you the journey that it's taken to come and present this card deck to you guys and to the world. I've been pretty emotional the last couple of days, and I haven't even had a chance to really let it absorb and sink in. And partly because we've done so much preparation to also get ready to share this card deck with all of you. If you're just joining us, know that we are on Facebook. We are on also YouTube. And I was going to be going on Instagram, but we had a communication issue with the mic not working. And we also have discovered we might have a mic issue with all the work we've done that may not be working to the level it was supposed to. So know that there'll be multiple times, multiple options for us to share things with you. But one of the reasons why I wanted to come today is the cards came 2 days ago. And I've been sitting here looking at this box and just waiting to open it. And it's been so hard to not just dive into this, but it wouldn't have been the same without doing it with Tatiana. And just so everybody knows, before we do that, I want to make a couple announcements, because once I get into this, I might forget everything. First of all, I guess I want to say thank all of you that's followed me on my journey of the entire Twin Flame journey, that's read the book, Twin Flame Codebreaker, read in there how this deck of cards was my mission, and that this deck of cards came to me as part of my mission to deliver to the world really since I was young, because I had told people when I was young that I was going to invent something that was going to be the first ever thing in the world. And when I woke up to the Twin Flame journey 6.5 years ago, actually maybe going on 7, but 6.5 years ago, I started creating this deck, being shown that it was needed. And I first started doing it for my personal self, doing readings for clients. And then I realized that because I went out there to try to buy a Twin Flame deck, and I'm not talking just Twin Flame cards or lover cards or soulmates. I went to try to find a Twin Flame deck of cards. There was not one in the market, not one in mass distribution, not even for something that was self-published at that time. There had been one deck on Amazon, but it was discontinued, no longer available. Somebody probably tried to self-publish it. And so at that time then, basically I knew, and I was shown through Saint Germain, that I was to deliver this deck for Twin Flames. And so this deck of cards has followed my every journey through this process of the entire awakening, the entire integration, the self-actualization, and the coming into the oneness of myself. And the timing of this deck coming out now, representing the oneness of yourself through the self-actualization process, and knowing that in the Twin Flame Ascension, which is the title of the deck, is Twin Flame Ascension, Take Me Home. And I want to tell you what that means, that the Twin Flame Ascension, as we know, that there's an ascension process we're all going through. And that in the process of that, our twin flames come in to activate us. And as we've all awakened more in the last few years, it has also been about that we have other soul teachers, other ascension teachers, and other mirrored souls that are also helping us. So at the end of the day, it's about finding yourself through all these reflections, you coming into alignment with who you are. And then from there, you can really master within yourself what it is that it means to be united and one with yourself. And now you're ready for that reunion to come and to play that dance out with your beloved. And so, there'll be more of this that unfolds, but every step of this way, I went through every piece of this journey, and every time I would start creating the deck, I would go through what I was living out, what the deck was unfolding, even down to Tatiana and I would be going back and forth between like her doing the images, me doing the writing, all these pieces. And each time we went through a round and a round and a round of this, we played out and lived the journey of this deck. So this deck has been infused in so many ways and encoded with so much energy. And I'll let Tatiana share about that in a minute. And for those of you that don't know and haven't met Tatiana, you've seen her in some of the astrology reports we do here on YouTube, but she's also the artist of this deck. And we have our own story about that is a whole journey in itself, how we aligned for this mission. But I want to thank all of you, as I mentioned, for being on this journey with me. Because as I mentioned when I kind of went through this, that my soul's mission was to deliver something to the world that I knew was the first thing and first time I would ever be, something would be delivered. And this deck, since 6.5 years ago, there has been people self-publish twin flame decks, but this will make and mark the first twin flame deck now at this rate, because it's been in the publisher's hands for 3 years, the first one in mass distribution in the world. And and I'm getting chills just saying that. The publisher, I just want to share with people, because so many people have contacted me wanting to already reserve their decks. And we have information below about reserving decks and all the information. You can check that out. And I'll have some links for Tatiana to add to that, because she's in Canada. I'm in the United States, and we're taking pre-orders. It's due to come out early March. And what I will say is I also want to thank all the people that's already put in their pre-orders. And all of you from other countries, multiple countries, have reached out and wanted to know, like, how can I reserve my deck? Well, a couple things just to tell you. Naturally, if you're in the States and you are in Canada, reaching out to Tatiana and I is the fastest, easiest route of that. But what I will say is, as soon as this comes out live at the beginning of March, as far as like comes out in, fully released, because what the publisher did was they had a couple or several decks airship from China over, and then they sent me 2 promotional decks for us to be promoting it until the full shipping arrives at the beginning of March, which is coming from China. And as we know, there's a lot of things going on with the shipping in China and things like that. So, but anyway, thank all of you for your interest. Thank you for your support. Thank you for journeying this with me. And I can't thank all of you enough. And Tatiana, thank you for that day of reaching out with those codes of the light codes on the Lionsgate back in 2017. I mean, oh my God. I just, I can't.
It's a lot of emotion, because this journey has been magical and difficult and awesome, and it's life, and it's when I met you first, and I was so excited. I remember that day when I was like, oh, this amazing lady on YouTube that I follow, because I bought your book, and I was going on through my own twin flame journey, trying to understand all of this. And then when I started getting flooded with these images, and I thought, like, why not? I'm just gonna tell her what I'm seeing. And I remember the day that was happening. And when you said, yes, send that to me, I remember going to the getting like all excited, and putting the images together, sending the email, and it's like, oh my gosh. And then when you showed up in Colombia, that's another story. That showed up, and we just trusted that something was there. And when you mentioned,
I brought you one of the first decks I had done that was completed, but there were issues with the images and they weren't right. Remember, I gave you a deck at that time when it came. Yes.
Of course, I still have that original one, and because I'm moving, I thought, like, well, where can I put the deck? And I kind of looked at it because, you know, I had it in my things. I was like, oh my God, this is the birth of this. And maybe in many, many years, that original deck is gonna be like, oh my God, it's like the seed, you know, the
Yes.
original, the one original copy that's around, you know. And that you probably have one and I have one. So
Yeah.
it's this gold, right? Because it sparked the whole journey. I remember with the images and the titles that I was like getting, like, again, like I just get images. My the way I channel is just I allow, and then I just get images, and then I just process and trust. Or I take pictures of something, images here, images there, and I blend and mix, and then something comes up. Sometimes it shows up, and then I see it. I'm like, oh my God, where does this show up? That's how spirit works. It does things, and then you just recognize them as resonant. I'm like, yes. You know, when you're creating something, it's like, yes, no, yes, and then there's a big yes. And in this journey, that's how it was. As I was going through my own dark night of the soul, awakening to divine feminine, divine masculine within me, trying to understand what this process was about, and going through all the romantic stages to the understanding it's just me and my own twin within, and then reflecting back in multiple amazing humans who like started with this like intense twin, and then it again bounced off in all these mirrors, and every mirror I've gotten has gotten me closer. And this deck was kind of that process where, like you said, where you were writing and then I was creating, and I was going through exactly what the card where I was doing. So one little thing, I did not draw the images in order. They did not come 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It was, oh, I'm feeling number 55 is coming now, like, or number 24. According to what I was living at the time, that was exactly what was coming. So the deck came in pieces until all the images were complete. And that's why it took over 8 months just to
And the
complete it.
last image I have to say was the image that's like, if you're playing this in a game, it was the final image that is the swan of being the oracle. I am the oracle. Do you remember that? That was the very last image that you ended up doing.
Yes. And the swan, which we will soon see, has a beautiful story because I drew the swan on crayon when I was 10 or 11 years old. So it's like it's my soul knew that this was not just a little sketch. And then of course I made it into an image that's for the deck, but that original swan is part of that innocence. It's like when you incarnate here, your soul already knows what it's coming for. And who would have thought, when I felt the swan, I'm like, oh my gosh, the swan that I had drawn when I was 10 or 11, I don't remember. It was back in 1991. That I can remember. I don't know how old I was. I was very young. Ooh, I'm getting
And I
ringing
gotta,
in the ears. Confirmation.
oh,
It's so awesome when that happens. Oh my goodness. Yeah, this is just like a magical thing that comes together. So you see, the lifetime. It's not just like a project that you say, oh, we're gonna draw this, do that. It's the history. It's a story. It's the story of all of us. You know?
yeah.
It's not me
Can you
drawing, it's me portraying the story of all of us, you know?
I think we should dive deeper into more of the deck once we get open. I know people are probably dying to see it. I'm dying to see it. And let's do it. And then let's go into some very specifics about the energy that's encoded and the, a little bit more of that story and how they're literally encoded with codes and how people are activated. And I was activated, can't tell you how many times. Once you got the images and I was writing, I was activated when I went through the activations. So I will share once we get this deck open, just so everybody knows it comes in. I'll give a little demonstration of like what the deck means and the whole layout of it. And then at the end, if you stay till the end, I'll do a 1-card reading. Even if Tatiana has to go, I will do a 1-card reading. But just for a moment, I want everybody to know that I'll be starting to do some shorts and some lives and different things, different places, and doing one card readings for people. So I'm going to try to come on live about once a week between now and the time the card deck comes out in order to do, like a one card reading for people and kind of just go through that with them. One last thing I want to say about the shipping thing, so I don't forget, those of you that have contacted me for other countries or still interested from other countries, if it's because the shipping for Tatiana and I to ship to you will be as much, if not more, than the cost of the deck to reserve your copy. But there's a link below that if you contact the publisher, they have 2,500 distribution centers all over the world. Hey, Marlu. And if you contact them, they can and they will be able to direct you to a venue, or I should say a distributor that's nearest you. So you'll give them your address. There's a place that you can give them your address and where you're at. They'll direct you to who will have the deck and how you can get it, the nearest distributor to you. Okay. So if you're in another country and you're not wanting to pay that amount of shipping, also know you may not get it until after it comes out. And also know this deck people have been waiting on this, and people have been contacting me for 6 years going, when's this deck coming out? It's going to sell out really quick. So if you do want your deck and you want to reserve your copy, make sure to hit those links below between Tatiana, me here in the US, or Tatiana in Canada, and then reach out to the publisher to get that reserved. But I think it's time to open it. Oh my God, I've waited long enough. Okay. And we'll go through that. Okay. Oh. It's like Christmas. As I was doing this, I got to tell you, I have to just tell you something. I was envisioning trying to open this up. And how you see on Facebook, those people that go through and they take forever to unwrap something and they're trying to get in it. And then they stop and they pause and you're like waiting and you're like waiting. And I thought like people are probably, if you're on there and you're doing this and you're like waiting, let me know. And it's not intentional. Like the things that they get you to watch like 15 minutes and all of a sudden there's like nothing at the end. I think a girl's going to be like naked when she gets her unwrapped and she's pregnant.
So the moment of truth first.
This is the moment of truth. That's right. Okay.
Oh
Round one.
Christmas.
Let me put that knife down there so I don't accidentally like cut myself or something. Okay. Oh my God. Now this might just be like what I said.
It's in there.
I have to be like, I'm not like one of those Christmas people that like wrap stuff. I know Tatiana, what I really would have loved to do is waited until like, I could have sent you a deck and we could have done this together, but no, because I couldn't wait that long to open it and send. Yay. Okay, I'm going to put this
that works upside down. Turn it around. It's upside down.
Turn it upside down. Okay.
Yeah. Oh. Put it closer.
Here, Julian's got better. I call it go-go. I call it go-go gadget arms.
Beautiful. Turn it around, please. I want to see it.
No, what I want to say to people that have requested that signed copies. And so what I want people to know is in this first round, like somebody wanted signed copies and made a suggestion of doing the first 50 of them signed. And so I'm going to see the first 100 signed for myself. However, and Tatiana, if you have something different than that, let them know. But what I will say in that is they are wrapped in plastic. So to get them from us and to get them signed, we have to open them. So if you have a problem us opening it to get it signed when you order, be sure to reach out and let us know. Okay. Otherwise, we can go ahead and sign them. And we, if you get it from her, she'll sign. If you get it from me, I'll sign. Okay. Okay. The plastic is really good. Hold it closer. Oh, and I have a story about this card because just so you know, the card on the front is the twin flame card in the deck. And what I will say is I'm opening this, that whenever I originally made that original deck, I couldn't decide if it was going to be 2 white swans or a white swan and a black swan. And when it came time to submit to the publisher, I went with the black, one black swan, one white swan. And Tatiana, you made 2 white swans also. And you also made a black swan and a white swan. And so when it came time to like submit it, I had to choose, and I chose one white and one black. And so for those of you that know, or maybe don't know, you know, he's part of this journey of this whole process. And of course, this deck could not have been ready until he showed up, meaning I wasn't ready until he showed up, just like the deck says and the whole premises of the deck. So thank you for showing up, and thank you for being a part of this journey. You want to say something?
Nope.
So the clothes were intentional today? Wearing black and white?
No, they weren't.
Because you look white, black, like
I know.
Yin yang all the way.
Okay, so this deck comes with a like little treasure map that is like a spreadsheet that shows you how to do the take me home pathway. It's an 11-step actualization process, and it is a spread. It's like a card deck spread that you can do that particular spread, and it's about taking me home and how you're going to get there. And just, Julian, would you read that for me since I don't have my glasses on?
Okay. Take Me Home Pathway, 11 Steps to Finding True Love. This spread will take you on an inward quest to unlock your hidden power so you can discover who you truly are. This enlightenment process helps you transcend your shadows and align with your greatest potential. Depending on your personal situation, each card reveals if the task is already accomplished, past, if you are working to accomplish it, present, or if it needs to be accomplished, future. Then the 11 steps are step 1, surrender. Step 2, spiritual awakening. Step 3, raise your frequency. Step 4, transformation. Step 5, breakthrough. Step 6, integration. Step 7, rebirth. Step 8, one with self. Step 9, harmonize. Step 10, enter your vortex. And step 11, mission accomplished.
And the mission accomplished is the swan. Can you open up? Is the swan becoming the oracle, knowing that I am the oracle. Hey, Cody, hello. Thank you for being a part of this journey with me. I have a lot of friends on here as well. And thank you all that's showing up. Thank you for being here today to go through this path with us. So while he's opening up the cards, here is the actual book. And the swan, which is the card of the Take Me Home card. And mission is accomplished. And I don't know that you can see that very well. Can you see that very well, Tatiana?
Yes, that's really nice. That is the swan that I was telling you about.
Yes, this is the swan that you drew the original drawing of at 10 or 11, right? Just the outline of that.
Yeah.
And so this book has, can you tell me how many pages are in that book? It's like 130 pages, I think.
105.
Okay, so it's a 105-page book, and it tells you how to use the deck with some really interesting, different spreads that I downloaded. I downloaded an 11-11 spread, a spread that is also the pyramid spread, and then we have the Take Me Home Pathway spread. And so those are 3 spreads that I downloaded to share with this deck that tells you how to do that inside of here. So now, all right, I'm going to show the back of the card first. And Tatiana, do you want to share a little bit about how the back of this card, and you're like, when when the publisher came back with something different than what I originally had submitted, and then you're like, oh no, that's not it. Can you share that story?
So yes, what happened was that the back of the card was supposed to be the swan as well, but the publisher came back. I don't remember exactly why, that it couldn't be blah 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 blah. And I was like, and they kind of fabricated an image that had like nothing, like, and I was like, no. Like, don't let them do that. If what they want is something along those lines, let me see what comes through, so we can at least give it the same coherence in the energy and the frequency, because it's certainly not the same. So I very quickly kind of went into like creating the back of what it was, and then show it again.
Can you show it again?
So what came is like, again, is this like double mirrored pathway, of the light in the center, which is the self, is the, the whole journey is about coming back to source energy, love, and it's this mirrored image, which is up
free,
up. It's the absolute twin. It's just the perfect merger of things. And there's the winged heart, which is an image I have been seeing for many years, and you see this winged heart in many different, let's say, spiritual, manifestations have the winged heart. It's a thing, but I had been seeing that in visions. So I'm like, well, if that's something, it's something, and it means, again, it's like the elevation of ourselves from this third dimensional lower, very embodied place, and just rooting up and down into.
Also, if you remember, Tatiana, like there's a card in here that has to do with freeing your heart, becoming sovereign and liberated. And it's a part of it, and it is a heart with the wings on the heart. One of these cards were, remember? And I don't know if we redid it. When we redid it, can't remember. It's been like, I don't remember. It's in here somewhere. I do know that. But when we redid that and added the wings, like that really kind of combined, because all of the writing about that is once that you've kind of went through this pathway and you've became one with yourself, you're free. Your heart is free to love. You're free to be able to expand into higher dimensions and higher states of divine love, because that's what this whole journey is about coming into divine love. So, wow. Now I'm going to start kind of showing at some different cards. Let me actually say something about the cards, and then I want you to talk about the energy with them. And then we'll show that, because it's the heart is free, and it is follow pathway to true love, which is the take me home card. Take me home is the pathway to true love. It's the free heart. Okay.
Yeah.
So there are 55 cards in here, and there is 5 different suits. And each of the colors really represents something very specific, but I won't go into here. But what I will say, it's also encoded with the codes of the number sequences of 1 through 11 through each of the 5 suits. And within the 5 suits, those 5 suits represent, first of all, the shadows. And that the shadows are the things that we go through as our lessons that we have to clear in order to master our soul's evolution and alignment of clearing the karma. And then through the process, there's 11 steps of this pathway that Julian had mentioned that I won't go in through here now because he went through them. So there's 11 cards representing those 11 pathways, or the 11 steps through the pathway to take me home. And then there is the merger part of the twin flame. There's 11 steps of how your twin flame comes in to be your mirror, and the 11 steps you go through with your twin flame and or teachers that allows you to integrate the energy through the reflections they teach you and collect your own aspects. And then there are 11 different types of souls and energy and connections, or your own ability to master, say, going from the queenhood as being known how to like receive, but stepping into your high priest or high priestess energy where you come into grace and power. And so it goes through this process of the types of energy, as well as, like I said, not only the types of energy, but the types of relationships you could have, or the types of people that might show up in your life, such as a false twin flame or karmic partner, soulmate, those sorts of things. In addition to that, then there are 5 activations that can help you accelerate the ascension process. And so there are activations that you can do and things you can do that will help you go through the pathway faster. So that is the deck being 55 cards, the process, and the goal and the outcome of the whole deck is as you go through the pathway through all of these things of clearing your shadows, finding yourself through the reflection of others, helping to become into that high priest or high priestess energy. And then you're activated along the way and to accelerate your process as fast as you can. But at the end, your twin helps take you home and takes you home to you, to your heart, to your freedom, to your sovereignty, to your liberation. And when you arrive in that space, then you become the mission has been accomplished, which is the last card, the last place in this 11 steps that you are now the oracle because you have stepped into your truth. You trust the process. You have a liberated heart and you're free to go forward and full sovereignty. And so now you share about the activations of the energy itself. Okay. And this is the card we were talking about, the free heart, the take me home card.
Yeah, can you move it a little bit to the side? Yeah, so this card it's out of focus.
Okay.
It's there. Now move it up a little bit. There. So this card, as I was creating it, I had again this angelic heart that I once woke up with this image in my head, and I'm like, oh wow, and it was golden, and that's how it appeared. And then when I was creating this card and I was mixing the colors, and it's a lot of digital art, and I do a mix of actual drawing, painting, digital pictures I take, energy of people I have met that it's in the mix. So there's a mix of a lot of imprints. And this particular card had that kind of, again, like angelic vibe. And when God created, there's these 2 figures that appeared. They appeared, I did not draw them, that look like 2 angels or 2 beings or 2 guides, that were almost like in a different, dimension, let's say. And as we all know, tarot cards and everything works through frequency and resonance, and that's why we pick a card. It's because something in the field resonates with that, and it tells us something. These are just symbols. Colors, symbols, and everything works from form to formless. So what's in the formless becomes the form, which is the symbols, the images, and the colors. And that's why we see things like forms, shapes, images that have meaning, and that meaning goes always back to the formless, to the energetic imprint. That energetic imprint is what we're trying to reach. So this card for me has that level of energetic imprint that is this transcended human that has reached that heart level, when your heart is really fully open. And if you have been doing this journey and your heart opening exercises and connection to ground and spirit, and you're actively pursuing this spiritual path and this twin flame path, then you probably already know what this is like. That when people talk about, we've heard many times the 5D. What is the 5D? Well, it's that the 5D is it's just the state of consciousness where this love is everywhere, and this representation of that higher, like, I call it angelic, but what is angelic, right? Again, the angelic for me is just the connection to that part of our soul memory that has that immense love that is coming down to this earth to bring heaven on earth, which is exactly the whole point of this. Is we're not ascending to leave the earth, we're ascending so we can bring the vibration of the higher realms onto earth. So it's kind of the ascension process. It's not, okay, I'm out of here. No, it's the opposite. It's we're bringing all this down by raising our consciousness, our vibration up. So this place called earth and whole of humanity and whole of Gaia can begin to live as this frequency of love, creativity, pure source creative energy. And as we've been, you have been watching this channel for many years, and so have I, and speaking with Dr. Harmony and many others, this is what's happening. We're clearing all the lower consciousness. So our twin flame journey is not about me and a man or me and our lover. It's not necessarily that. It really is what we're doing for humanity, for the consciousness of humanity to elevate. And we all know that that is the journey. Whether or not your twin is your lover, or it just doesn't matter. It's the journey that clears all that consciousness into those higher realms for the divine union. And then what Harmony said, then you find the matching frequency to live that divine union in physical form, which is of course the ideal that everybody should accomplish, is that merger. So it's beautiful. So that's
And
that
that's
card.
when,
It's powerful. Oof, I'm like shaking.
oh, I know, right? So that's why now we pulled out the Swan card, which is the mission accomplished, welcome home, becoming one with yourself. And then we have the Twin Flame card, which is your union of self. And we showed that before. That is the book cover as well. So it's the same image on the book cover. Here's the same image of the deck. The card deck.
And that is
And
again masculine, feminine, the yin, the yang, the fire,
yes,
the water. The elements are present always, as we know, as
and
being
creating one heart together.
one heart
right?
together. Yeah, and then the
Yes.
transmutation energy. You see that purple light that comes out from the center of that union energy is what is the capacity to transmute at very,
Yes.
very high levels. So that's what it represents. Once
Yes.
it's merged like this, the energies flow from one side to the other, and the swans are like the earthbound form, and the higher heart, it's the upper representation of that energy in those different dimensional levels. So the swan represents that accomplishment, that divine, like the meaning of swan is so powerful, and so it's like the bird of the divine,
Yeah.
And the energy of Saint Germain was very present when doing this deck. A lot of the purple flame came through, and
Yes.
and
Saint
I know,
Germain.
yeah, and we have so many stories about Saint Germain. Like, I'm myself, like Harmony, the way like I channel, it's not like, oh, I'm channeling all this thing. Again, it's by these impulses and these resonances. This is something. This is something. What is this? I sometimes things that I channel, I dream a lot, and then I Google them the next day because I don't know what they mean. And then sure enough, there's a meaning, maybe in Sanskrit or something. So it's like the openness to, the channeling is just being open to these other realms of thought and consciousness, and the ability to tap into all of that. And as we become more online, we all will start getting more connected in those fields, more and more and more, until we are all unified, which is the whole point. So I'm not like particularly special. I just, for those who like the astrology part, I am a very Neptunian being. I have Neptune very close in my being is I'm a channel. I have open channels. So not to, say that I'm particularly, more special than anybody else. It's just we all have that capacity and ability once we, open up.
And I think the key in that is to take action. Because what if I had not followed my soul's nudge to do every step of this, down to when the card deck came to me, I had bought a tarot card deck, which the publisher is the same publisher that created the first ever tarot deck. And I knew, and I actually negotiated the final deal with him. And since then, he has passed away since this project with the publisher started 3 years ago. But basically, I knew in my heart of hearts, the minute I got that tarot deck and I saw the publisher, all I knew was that's who you're to contact. And I didn't contact until it was time. And I set it aside, didn't think about anything else. And all I knew was the worst case scenario was I was going to self-publish it, because all I knew is it wanted to birth. And I didn't worry about the details. I didn't worry about, how or, first of all, like I knew from the get-go when my own spiritual advisor told me that like I was to do this deck, I was like, I already started it because I knew I needed one. And then I'm like, I don't know how to do images. I'm not an artist. And she's like, you're going to have somebody come through that's going to be an illustrator that will do the images for you. And then I had people showing up to do that, and they just weren't the right person. And I knew they weren't. And for those of you who know, I completed the card through some graphic stuff, which, by the way, I want to give my son-in-law, and I wrote about him in the Twin Flame Codebreaker, about how he helped me. If it had not been him, he helped me design all of the format, because to submit this to a publisher has to be very, very specific in so many ways. And he basically helped me, or I would have never got that far. So he helped me with images we created in the first deck. And then I still knew it wasn't right. And there was also a contract, or like a license I had to get with the original images that we created out of them, but there had to be specific license for resale. And so got the whole deck done to realize can't go. So it's set for several months, almost a year, before Tatiana showed up. And then it took her a year to duplicate those images based on her own feeling into the vibration of it. And like she said, like her own images, her own insight, and without compromising what I'd originally done, but yet still her delivering what needed to happen to put in here. Can you talk about how you actually created these from the mandalas all the way out? And so they're encoded with actual codes inside of the cards. And before you do that, I'm going to share this. I'm going to have Julian show one of these, that the scrolls on here are the 6 and 9s that I wrote about in my book. So there's a 9 on top and there's a 6 on the bottom. And the original design was going to get cut off, and they recreated it. And then we're like going, no, that's not right. But they redid it to where it was perfect from what I originally sent. It was better than what I originally sent. And it's actually a scroll that's a vortex, creating a vortex to suck you into the card, to bring you into the energy. And for the energy, then also not only to bring you into the energy encoded with it, but then that energy also reflects back to you. And Tatiana, share with them how the energy codes are in that and how that works through your. The other thing I'll say about that, we both infused our own energy in the creation of this. With each round, we went through every part of this. We lived it out. And that was our own energy that we were transmuting things and learning things and implementing those codes and our frequencies within the writing, the deck, the images, the whole design. So talk about the energy that's encoded there.
Well, like I said, the energy it depends on the process I was going through. For example, for this particular card, I took a picture of a flower that was speaking to me. And again, everything possesses vibration. Everything has information. Every single thing, inanimate or animate. So sometimes I would be drawing a mandala myself, like having that energy or that intention, and the mandala would come as a mandala shape. Some other cards, like this one, came from like objects or things I would see that would immediately remind me of or resonate at a certain level with what that energy wanted to say. For example, this one with self and blossoming, was that thing. So when I saw this flower, I'm like, oh my gosh, this feels like that's what it wants. So I just follow the energy, and it's like a game almost. Like, this is how I function. I don't know, this is called maybe inspiration. When you get inspired from in spiritu, in spirit, it's exactly that. It's following the energy where it wants to say, here, yes, yeah, yes, here, no, not here, yes, here. So that's how it works. So again, the procedures, my graphic just procedures, I'm very versatile in let's say different media. So again, the media, if I wanted something really shiny, digital was the best, which thanks to what this technology, it allows us to do that. Then I would also do everything. Sometimes I would just draw by hand some of the mandalas, like the original codes, the diamond light codes, the original ones came from just a mandala with from a vision of things. So and some of these I had during ayahuasca sessions as well that I was doing. And this one in particular, I saw that in an ayahuasca session, and I drew in my little book. When I get the images, I would draw them, and then I would make them into the actual image, because they were telling me something that was my spirit or whatever I'm connecting to, saying something. Yeah, so every single step of the way was just that. It's a journey of inspiration. What's next? What's next? What wants to come through? And again, like I said at the beginning, it was not in order. It was according to what I was living through, and the different like emotional stages and how the emotion translated into the image. And sometimes it's also aleatory things. How does that work? I would, with technology, you can also, there's things that appear. Oh, this one in particular, I got a story with that one too. That was also one that I drew this on a mural, a big wall when I was a teenager. Huge wall.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and the mural, the only remnant photo was it was a picture from those old cameras. And when I was working on this path of least resistance, this image came to me like, that's the image. So I'm like, I went to that old picture, back in the day when we didn't have digital. And I again digitized it and made it into what the card is today. But the energy or the vibration of that was there. And that was that was a representation of, again, the paths that you can choose. What path do you choose? The difficult or the hard? This is one that started with a mandala. This one in particular started with a mandala. And it was the very first one that I actually drew. It was this one. And started with a mandala, and in maybe a later video I could share a little bit of the process, or if I can pull it up, there's a whole process. It starts with something and it evolves until it's like completed. It's not just like, oh, I just made this. Sometimes I go through
that's our whole journey. Right?
yeah.
That's how our whole journey works.
Let me see if I can probably pull that out and see one of those processes, because it's interesting to see the whole process unfolding. It's not just a random that's what I'm saying, right? It's not just a random thing that occurs. Let me see. For example, that one, I wanted to show the one with so you see this?
Oh,
this
yeah.
was the original hand-drawn that was the original one, and it went through a process of
Oh, wow, she's got the process there. I haven't seen those. That's amazing.
Here's the process. Sorry, the process is here. So it started here, and then wait.
It started there.
And then it goes here. Then it started shifting. Then started picking up on what it needed. I'm like, that's not quite yet it. That's not it. And I would do all these versions like, okay, it's getting closer to what it feels it should be. So I think it was this, right? So you see, it's like, and that's what the magic of art of of digital and technology also allows is to be able to have all these versions, but the resonance, you kind of, it's like when you're creating, you say like, this is it, Well, this one I drew digitally, all of it. And this one was even before we had discussed the twin flame deck. I had drawn this when I was like, back when I was reading Twin Flame Codebreaker, and that was back in 2016, 17, I don't remember exactly. And I remember drawing this as like the representation of that. Those two birds are like, that's not even, it's like a mythical bird. It's like the bird of paradise, right? It's not even
Yeah.
this one. It's like another level of it. And I drew this card as that representation of the twin flame. And that was when I was just beginning to even understand what this journey was about. And I just had this, I just drew this because I was always also trying to, when you're starting this path, you usually are seeking kind of outside, but you know that there's something, but it's not really outside. It's really inside. It's you. This is you inside, So, and that represented that union and
Wow.
that flow of energy, that when you're connected
Give me
to all
one
the
more
energy
here.
system. So representations. Yeah,
Good.
the vortex, and that's the entering the vortex. The spirals have also a big, there's something very important about spirals. They've shown up in my life multiple times. When I was 20 years old, I was, drawing pictures. And then one time I drew this spiral with all these balls. And I was like, what's this? This is weird. I don't draw like that. And I kept getting this, that this was like a multidimensional expansion of the of everything. And then once in an ayahuasca session, I got the spirals again, over and over again. And the spirals, then I had the message that it was, the spirals are the way of the universe. Follow the spirals. And that was a long time ago. So now the spiral is encoded in a lot of the cards, because that resonance reminds us that everything is cyclical, that everything is always in evolution, and that the energy always moves in this spiral. And it's a never ending process. It's not like, oh, when I arrived here, no, then there's always the next level and the next level and the next level. It's an unending unfolding of spiral cycles in all dimensions, though. Yeah.
I just randomly wanted to pick a card and I was choosing and like show them which one I picked.
Again, twin flame card, of course.
So,
Yeah.
so what I want to, for those of you that those of you that's just joining, there are links and below that you can reserve your deck. It's going to be coming out in early March. Make sure to catch up on the replay if you've not seen everything up to this far. If you are in another country, there is a link that I've provided as well to either reserve for us and find out what the shipping is, or you can also contact the publisher and they will direct you to your nearest distributor in your country for you to be able to potentially reserve the deck, but for sure when it becomes fully available. But know that it will sell up fast once it's fully released. And we are taking pre-orders now, and it's due to come out in early March. These are a couple promotional decks that I just received, just opened, first time in my hand, and a 6.5-year project in action, but a lifelong dream that has came into form. So we'll tell you, never, ever, ever, ever avoid a nudge. Never, ever, ever give up, because you came here to do something. You came here for a purpose. You came here for a mission. What you have to do is exactly what Tatiana was explaining. You have to get out of the way and let it show up, let it form, let it take hold of you, let it evolve in front of you, let it open up and expand like that lotus, and let it come out. Because if you get in the way, you're only slowing it down. And I can tell you, after 6.5 years and 3 years of this being in the publisher's hands, and then COVID backed it up, and then every step of it, taken every step of every delay to create the next step of being something better than it was initially for whatever reason. So in that patience of all of these things, it's always about timing, trust, and tolerance. This card deck could not come out at a better timing than 6 years ago. More people are awake. More people truly understand the self-actualization process now. More people have been awakening, and more people are ready to take that next step, to be able to like take action in their life. So, I encourage you, wherever you're at in that steps of the self-actualization process and the connection with your twin flame or other Ascension teachers, know that inside of you, you have the power to be able to stand up, show up, and speak up for yourself, and to know that you are the one, like in the universe, like, because you are the co-creator, and you have this energy we're talking about is in you, and you're awakening to it, you're unlocking it. This will help you do that just by the mere presence, the activation. When you get your deck, make sure that you clear it. Clear the energy out of it. Make sure that, you can do that through sunlight, or, I use a lot of like tapping on it, different things like that. You can set intentions into that. So what I would like to do now is, I would like to do some like little short 1-card readings for a few people that want to hang out and stick around. If you want to go ahead and put in the chat wherever you are on whichever social media platform, I'm going to pull a card, and you can answer the question or ask a question or set an intention or whatever, and I'm going to infuse and I'm going to give you a 1-card reading, but just a few of them, not a lot. But I'll be back on a weekly basis to do 1-card readings live, and to be able to share more of this with you. And Tatiana and I will get back together again to go through deeper layers and levels of teaching of these things. So I'm going to have Julian be able to look and see if anybody has any questions, would like to do a 1-card.
Looks like Pat Powers wants to step up.
Okay, Pat Powers wants to step up. You gotta step out, sister. Like, we know you're ready. You're about ready to bloom and blossom and blow up.
Yeah.
Tatiana, do you have to take off?
I do need to get going, so
Okay.
I can leave you to and all the people watching. Thank you so much for being in this journey, because we are all here for a reason. It's not about our little selves. It's about the greater awakening of every planet. So yes, everything is in divine timing. No matter how it seemed frustrating over the years, like, oh, the deck's not coming out. Like, everything happens for a reason, and now it's going to be available to everybody.
Yes.
And remember who they are. Like, everybody's gonna get a boost of acceleration. We all need it.
Yes.
Okay, everybody.
Thank you so much for taking time, Tatiana, today. For everybody that's in Canada and wants to connect with her to get any pre-orders or reserve decks, because she's out of town this weekend, she wasn't able to there was some glitches with Mercury retrograde getting links. So be sure to hang tight. As soon as she gives them to me, those specific links to connect with her will be in either future things and also in the link for this recording when you watch the replay. Love you, Tatiana. Thank you so much. And everyone that's here, I'm going to do some 1-card readings. So make sure to give me your.
Okay.
Yeah, we got a couple people. Bye, Tatiana. Talk to you soon. All right. So first up, we have Pat, then Melissa, and
let's go through one at a time.
I think that's Slam 4, I am 4. So Pat Powers.
All right. So what is her? She have a question there? That's what I'm asking people for questions for drawing a 1-card for them.
Pat, do you have a question?
Pat, where you want a card, dear? And I'll do a 1-card for you, setting an intention. Go ahead and go to the next one. I'll wait.
All right. Melissa, how about you? Did you have a question in particular?
What does it say?
She said she'd love a card, but she didn't say what you wanted.
Okay, so that's fine. And here's the thing. You don't have to like have any intention. You can let guidance share the intention. So Melissa, I know you very well. Melissa, thank you for showing up here today. And thank you for following my journey because you've been on it with me, sister. And I love you. And thank you for being here today to hang on this excitement. Also, congratulations on getting your card deck reserved because I saw that. And I'm going to give you a card now. And just let's put it this way. I already know what your intention is. And we'll keep it private since, you know, you're here. But I already know what it is. Okay. Ooh, whoa. Okay. Wow. Okay. I'm going to tune into the energy and then I'm going to start sharing. First, let me tune into it and then I'm going to have Julian put it up there where you can see it. The card. Okay. So Melissa, the card is harmonize and it's a 10-10 card and it represents you being in a place that you've done a lot of work. And I know that even just knowing that, but you have literally created such a unification within yourself that everything in your reality is beginning to come into alignment with your vibration. And this represents a vibration of the ascension process as you see this card of going up through that ascension and coming up to your highest self. So this is telling me you tapped into your highest version of you and you're connected to your heart. You've been coming into balance and you're on the cutting edge and the verge of letting your light shine and just coming out in a sense. And I see it just like this card, like an explosion, being able to literally just... the cultivation work you've done, it's ripening, it's blossoming, it's blooming, and it's time to reap your rewards. Okay? Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful.
All right. Let's see. Next up is Skylar, and she would love a reading on her career.
All right. 1 second. Just so you know, like also is make sure in between different readings, different intentions that you clear your card. And one of the things I like to do is clap like 3. It's just a natural habit I do to clap on it 3 times to shift the energy out of the deck. Oh, sister. So the card is speak your truth and express yourself. Now, what this means is for you, you're being called up and out to go into your mission and into your purpose and to express yourself in realness, rawness, and vulnerability of all the things you know. But you're being held up because coming out into your career is going to, one, take a lot of trust to shift from a career to a mission and a purpose and going at it from a place of making meaningful money versus showing up at a place of being fear-based and having to do it to survive. You need to do it from a place of thrive. But to do that, you're needing to come out and be open, raw, real, vulnerable. Let people see you. Let people hear you. Show up in a place of beginning to be who you are and making no apologies for it. And the minute you do that, everything that you are trying to step into is already waiting on you. And you've done so much work and you're ready to do that, but you need to go through this layer of persecution and let go of what all these people are that you think they're thinking of you. And let it go. You came here for this purpose. You came here for this mission, and it's time to express it. And the minute you do and let go of it, you're going to make a huge shift forward. Thank you, Skylar.
And Pat wants to know what's next.
Wow, that's a great question. Whoa, okay. So this card is transformation, and it's battle between your head and your heart. And so a piece of you is letting go of who it is you've been so you can step into all of what you already know you are, but there's a layer and a veil of the past that is needing to be, that's an illusion. So the illusion in that is causing you to be able to see who you are, to know who you are, but you're being asked to shift through this process of like going from head logic into heart language. But to be able to do that, you have to trust the process. And therefore, you need to create and elevate your trust meter so that you can like see tangible results and in your belief system. And I know you got a lot of belief systems going on in that with like things in your life shifting and coming into form for you in all areas, and it's happening in your relationship. But anytime you get your relationship in order, you're getting your finances and your career in order. You get one of them right, you get them all right. So the same process for your career in the shift is like happening the same way of your relationship. So it's everything you've known from the past, and it's like going through it and filtering through it to be like, what's going with me next? And what is it I can leave behind? And because you've been programmed with so many programs of the old Pat, the old way, the Reverend Pat Powers that has been like, you know, you're on fire, woman, you know, and you have a very strong voice and you know how to like stand up, show up and speak up for yourself. And your bark is super loud, but you're also like the, you know, that dog that people are afraid of. And because they're afraid of that bark, you're really just a puppy inside or that kitten inside really saying meow, not roaring. Okay. And a piece of that is you roaring forward the new way, because it's like you're seeing yourself go through this process of this shift and letting go of the logical side of yourself and your mental aspects of the judgment of yourself, but going into your heart and having that compassion for yourself and honoring and accepting who you are. And don't like give this power away from a standpoint of people think I'm too much. And that's it right there. People think you're too much, and you kind of even know that. I think you might have even said that to me before. But you know what? If they can't handle you, then you just need to say next. And like so what so what I would say to you is, what is next? That is what is next. I just said it. That was the question. What's next? So that is the answer. What is next is you need to be saying next, 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 next. Like letting go. If it doesn't align with your vibration, you are in empowerment. And if you need to come into the ownership of that and be like, okay, if it doesn't align with me because I get to choose my reality, then next. Okay, that's it.
All right, Marlu, are you still there? Marlu wanted some guidance on writing this twin flame chapter.
Ooh. All right. That's a good one, Marlu. Oh, well, this one just flew out, so we'll see where that goes. Ooh, okay. The card is open your heart and learning how to set loving boundaries. But what's happening in this card, what it represents is from your past pain. All right. Your past pain has built brick walls. And this has been a painful twin flame journey for you. You've had a lot of pain that's taken place in your past history with your parents and even your twin flame and your twin flame story. That's going to be the story of your twin flame in this book or in this chapter doing for the book that, you know, I know we're working on. So basically, you are to embrace this pain. You are to feel this pain. It's going to crack you open and feel like you might be shattered all over again, but it's going to be a new way for you to put yourself back together and embrace the pain and the beauty of the journey, because you've separated yourself from the pain on some level. And now it's time to go back and revisit it so that you can infuse that chapter with the energy and the pain that you experienced as if it just happened. And that's hard to face. But out of it, you're going to be learning how to set boundaries in yourself in a new way, different way, and let go of like putting up walls and armoring yourself in your body and your mind and your heart. You're going to be able to start to show up in a place of loving yourself, accepting yourself, going back and knowing that you're your own divine parent, even though you had issues with your parents. And you've been doing this, all right? So you're on the right path, but the pain you're feeling is what you need to put into that chapter, okay? And opening your heart and coming out of it. Your heart will be more open than it ever was before. And this is getting you ready for your divine partner, okay? All right, who's next?
All right, we've got
Oh,
Elena Salter, and she wants to know, can you tell her where she is in her journey, please?
Wow. So you got the twin flame card, and it says that everything's possible. So you're coming into this place, first of all, of this knowing that this unity is within yourself and balancing your head and your heart, your right brain and your left brain, which is your logic versus your reasoning, coming into your masculine and feminine energies, coming in from your higher self and your lower self, and creating universal heart oneness within you. And to know that the minute you become the love you want, the love you want will show up. And this is bringing in the love you want. So with what I just said, you kind of coming into this place of you've been doing a lot of work, okay? So this shows you've done a lot of work. But you're dotting I's and crossing T's to create the wholeness, the oneness, and the completeness within yourself that you be who you want to be with, and you're going to attract the ultimate version of yourself. And that could be somebody you know, or could be a new person. But know that they will be the one that reflects the highest version of you. Beautiful. Thank you. All right, let's see where we're at. We'll take a few more here.
All right, we have David Collins, and he knows he's on a journey, but he wants to know when it will end, to where he can reap the benefits.
So the first thing I want to tell you that came through energetically for you, David, is that a piece of what you're going through right now is that you need to learn how to be open to receive. And so you've done a lot of work and you've set a lot of intentions and you have a great idea of what you would like to have, but you're not open, willing, or ready to receive it. And so you're at this place of basically, I'm visioning this like bullseye that you have it targeted on, like, say, one person that's going to fulfill this for you, potentially the twin flame on the twin flame journey. And because you're so stuck on this idea, it's got you in a limitation mode, and you have soul contracts with other people. You have other people that will help you begin to step forward and plug the leaks for you, that will help you continue to gain more reflection, more wisdom, more lessons, and more aspects of yourself. So the card is Twin Flame Facilitator, and it says expansive growth. So you're in a place of letting go of like all the stories and all of the past and all the connections, and to know that you're in a place of like allowing someone or something or all the experiences to teach you. You need to see these reflections. You need to let people come in and help plug your leaks. So if you see in that card, there is a triangle, and this is like the Trinity, and you're at the top, okay? And at the top of that Trinity, that's you being at your highest version of you, and the two like pyramids or pillars at the bottom, and those lights, that represents masculine and feminine energy and two people potentially, okay? And potentially you could have two partners already here that is teaching you, and you're right in the middle, and they're each showing you a side of yourself, but of the same thing, but the opposite sides of you. And it can be super confusing because in one of them, they might be teaching you to speak your truth and you got to like start expressing yourself. And the other one, you know, you might need to be setting boundaries and, you know, basically be cutting off, so to speak, because you're taking back your power and you need to kind of put it into that instead of being codependent in it. So if you took that in reflection to your journey, they're expanding you. And if you're blocking those people from coming in or those experiences from letting you see yourself, then you're not growing. And you need to be growing. You need to see the reflections and you need to let come into you what you need to continue to grow and expand. Beautiful. Ooh.
Looks like that's the last one.
Okay.
Skylar just wanted to share that she's about to get certified in Kundalini Reiki today.
Oh, beautiful, Skylar. Congratulations. That's amazing. And so that says exactly what I was saying earlier. You're stepping into a sense of making meaningful money, and Kundalini definitely represents you coming out into more of that sacred sexual energy and breaking ties to the limitations. I will tell you in that, a piece of that is also you allowing yourself to be worthy enough to get paid for those services. Okay, so that kind of goes back to what I was saying earlier. You being open and willing and ready to receive your worth for the value of a spiritual service, not like a mundane day-to-day operation.
All right, we got one more from a deep diver. He says, "Hello, Dr. Harmony. Where am my twin and myself in reflection to each other in the journey? What is it that I need to learn at this point in my journey?"
Beautiful. Well, you're deep, I can tell you that much. So, okay. I have to read into your energy for a moment because there's a lot of depth to you. I feel your pain. And you have went through this process of not trusting it. And not because you're not trusting yourself, first of all, this is why. So you've given your power away to a sense that you have made this kind of, like I said a minute ago, sort of like the end all be all, and all of that reflection from the outside, you're trying to fulfill within. So even though you've went within and you know how to connect to yourself, there is a layer super deep inside of you that's really like testing you to trust yourself at a level you've never done before. So I talk about this in the Ascension journey where you've went up a tree, you're going out on a limb, and as you go out on the limb, you're right now being asked to jump off the limb. And the reason being is because you will never know if your wings will work if you don't fly. You know, you never know if you can fly if you don't jump is the point. And you don't have confidence in your wings. And so in this trust aspect, you're to be taking every action towards yourself. You're to be calling back some of the power you've given away in this. You're to be standing up and showing up for yourself and to know and to believe that in my reality, in my world, this is what I want. So you need to get super clear on what you want, first of all, because if you don't know what you want, they're not going to be able to provide that for you. And if this is not the right person for you with your twin or this reflection, and they're not providing it for you, then you're giving your power away by thinking that you're waiting around for them. And this is what I'm feeling, this sense of you're in this like direction of which way do I go? Do I let go or do I move forward? And you're being asked to let go and trust that regardless of who it is, you're going to experience this journey and you're going to, because you get to choose how you experience it. You become love. You are love. You are the twin flame journey. You're going to experience love and divine love within yourself. You will experience with everyone around you, and you will not be missing a thing. In fact, you will be experiencing more peace, more prosperity, more power, more partnership in the way that you see it, because you're so deep. That means the deeper you are, the more expansive everything outside of you becomes. And so for you to connect to the expansion of the depths of you is what you're doing here. And to do that, it's the polarities. Okay, so we're talking polarities here, and you're bringing the unification to the polarities. So for you to go forward with anyone, and I won't just say the twin flame, because I do like to lose labels when there's the fixation on one person's going to do that. So if you're in this place right now of feeling the split of what I'm saying, and the card reads the path of least resistance and choose the path of ease and grace. And so you're at a crossroads with this. And because you're at a crossroads of this, number one, it can be like your perception of what you see in the situation. You could see it from a place of that the fears and all of those things within you is creating limiting belief systems and causing you to stay in a shadow mode of continuing to have to go through processing cycles of karma. Or you can look at it from a place of, I could dig up karma all day long. I don't need another teacher or another person or another experience that's blocking me from connecting and moving into the greatest version of me. I can do that within, and I can do that by every day making the choice to choose ease and grace. I can choose the highest version of me. I can choose my experiences. I can wake up every day and make the choice it's going to be a great day. And by you stop waiting for that to come into play with that relationship, you're going to create your daily life will become a sense of purpose and meaning and connection, and a sense that you're missing nothing is the point. Because right now I feel the sense of separation, and it's really reflecting the separation of you, and it's reflecting the depths of who you are with the greatness and expansion of you. So to bring that into balance is what you need to do. And you bringing that into balance is going to help your daily life come into balance. It's going to help magnetize for you quicker and faster. And I would start by making a list of what it is that you desire from your highest version, and stay focused on that on a daily basis. And that will bring and shift your reality. So thank you guys all for showing up to go through this process with us. Thank you for those of you that are going to be watching the replay. Just make sure, check out all the links below as far as getting your deck reserved. Thank you all again for the ones that have reserved, the ones that have reached out and asked how to get it in another country. If you're just coming in, there are links to get connected to reserve your deck, both in the United States, going to be in Canada. And then also the publisher has a link that you can contact them directly in order to find out your closest nearest distributor to where you live and located, and they will connect you to who you can connect with to get a copy of the deck in your area. If you don't want to wait exactly that long, you can reserve a deck through me, but I can tell you that the shipping could be as much as the deck, if not more. But by all means, if that's something that you want to do, I have no problem doing that. And I mentioned earlier that I've had requests for signed copies. So I plan to sign the first 100 copies of the deck. And they do come in a plastic wrapper. So your wrapper will be off for me to sign it. If you do not want me to sign it and don't want it unboxed, be sure you send me a message so I make sure to send you a copy that's not signed. Okay? Thank you guys so much. I appreciate you guys. I love you all. Thank you all for being a part of my journey. And just loads and loads and loads of love. I can't thank you enough. Blessings, and have a great rest of your day. Namaste.
Ciao.